Welcome! This is another video in my NIV Bible reading series. In this video, I'm going to be reading through Exodus chapter 39. NIV stands for New International Version. That is the translation that I am reading from. There are other translations like the New King James Version or something called the ESV, which is what my church reads from. I don't know exactly I haven't looked up what ESV means. Yeah, that's another translation I've also heard floating around, the .com translation or other stuff, but I'm reading the NIV translation in here. NIV I have no particular reason why I'm reading the NIV. The only reason is that I guess I don't think that it's not because I think it's better. It's just the NIV is the first version that I was introduced to, so I am reading that. I am also reading the New King James Version on the side. Uh, so I'm not. I don't want to say. I'm not going to say that because I actually don't even know that the NIV that you should read the NIV or that you shouldn't, or that you should read some version of the other over the other. But so. You can read whatever version you want, of course. As far as I know, there isn't any. I haven't heard of anything that's like super alarming, like, oh, don't read this version. But not really. I heard there was some controversy in like some versions of the Bible that say, but I don't know. It was some YouTube short I saw, but I don't know. I don't know enough. But anyway, so in Exodus 39. It's going to talk about the priestly garments, the instructions, so that for Aaron and his I guess his offspring and his descendants are supposed to wear because they're Aaron and his priests. You know, the Old Testament, they were the ones they were the priests in the tabernacle and stuff. They were in and stuff like that. So I will say my usual disclosure. And that you have the Old Testament, you have the New Testament. In the Old Testament, things were a little bit different than in the New Testament times we are, and which is New Testament is in the time of Christ, when Jesus Christ came, sacrificed himself, and stuff like that for our sins, and yeah, that's great, but before that we had. The Old Testament law with the Israelites and stuff like that, where you had to communicate with the Lord. You have the tabernacle, and then you also offered burnt offerings. You have things like basically you sacrifice animals and stuff like that to atone for different sins. Like you have the trespass offering, the heave offering, just other offerings and laws and stuff like that. And in the Old Testament, you had the civil law, you had the ceremonial law, and you have the moral law. And to be honest, I'm not sure what the moral law is, or not moral law, civil law is at this time. But I just heard in the short that I saw in a short that it said like the ceremonial law and the civil law are both not followed in the New Testament times. And I don't know about the civil law, but the ceremonial law that we're talking about, right here, like the priestly garments. You have the tabernacle, you have the burnt offerings, you have the setup of like the garments, and you can't wear like mixed fabric clothing or something and stuff like that. That's just, you don't follow those in the New Testament. Jesus Christ, you have the new covenant, as far as I know anyway. Stuff like that, and yeah, so we don't, in the New Testament you don't need the tabernacle, because and it was a tabernacle. That's what the Lord, that was supposed to be like kind of like Lord's house, I guess you could say. The Lord was on earth. The Lord is supposed to be in there, and that's how he communicated with the Israelites and stuff like that. And the burnt offerings you have were to atone for sin, and then you also had because in the New Testament you had Jesus, and Jesus sacrificed himself. He was the ultimate. He was the only sacrifice that was actually good enough to atone for the sins of man, and because he was a man, you he is I guess, of God, of the virgin birth and all that stuff. But essentially, God, in the form of man, uh, he is a mediator between between man and God. So, yeah. So now, like, we don't need. Why would you need a tabernacle? You don't need. Thanks to his great sacrifice, we don't. We could just communicate with God. We don't have to go to a tabernacle and stuff like that, or have someone like Moses go to the tabernacle and hear the Lord's word, and then go and tell the people. We could just basically we have a mediator. Jesus is the mediator, and he also was the ultimate sacrifice. So we don't need to do those things. We don't need a tabernacle. We don't need to do the burnt offerings anymore in the New Testament times. But that was how it was back then. So yeah. So I just want to make sure that people know that to modern day Christians and stuff like that, you're not going to get favor with God, any more favor with God by like doing burnt offerings and some of the other ceremonial and whatever civil laws they may be. Yes. So the moral law is still there. The Ten Commandments, and stuff like that, and but yeah, I just want to make sure modern New Testament time and that you know that whoever's watching this, and stuff like that. So yeah, let's just get into it. Wait, hold on. I do want to say I don't think God's not going to condemn you for that though. Like I don't think God's going to condemn you for doing something like if say you made. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know how God would feel about making it. Feel if somebody made a tabernacle and started doing the old covenant practices. I don't know how God would feel about that. I'm just being honest. I don't know. I don't know enough about that. I don't even know if there's an answer to that question. But I guess to do the old for the tabernacle, start doing that all again. I guess you would have to think that Jesus Christ isn't like. I guess. Well, how could you believe in Jesus Christ and still do the old covenant? The old covenant ceremonial law? That just wouldn't make sense. And where are you going to find a descendant of Aaron anyway? But I don't know. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of problems that I can see coming up. Because how could you believe in Jesus Christ, in the coming of Jesus Christ, when what's it called? When if you're doing the burnt offerings and stuff and creating tabernacles and stuff, so I guess God wouldn't really, I guess, enjoy that. I would think, but I don't know. But yeah, let's just get into it. All right. From the blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, they made woven garments for ministering in the sanctuary. They also made sacred garments for Aaron, as the Lord commanded Moses. They made the ephod of gold and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen. They hammered out thin sheets of gold and cut strands to be worked into the blue, purple, and scarlet yarn in the fine linen, the work of a skilled craftsman. They made shoulder pieces for the ephod, which were attached to two of its corners, so it could be fastened. Its skillfully woven waistband was like it of one piece with the ephod, and made with gold and with blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and with finely twisted linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. They mounted the onyx stones in gold filigree settings and engraved them like a seal with the names of the sons of Israel. Then they fastened them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod as memorial stones for the sons of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. Now we know about the breastpiece. They fashioned the breastpiece, the work of a skilled craftsman. They made it like the ephod, of gold and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen. It was square, a span long and a span wide, and folded double. Then they mounted 4 rows of precious stones on it. In the first row there was a ruby, a topaz, and a beryl. In the second row a turquoise, a sapphire, and an emerald. In the third row a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. In the fourth row a chrysolite, an onyx, and a jasper. They were mounted in gold filigree settings. There were 12 stones, one for each of the names of the sons of Israel, each engraved like a seal with the name of one of the 12 tribes. For the breastpiece they made braided chains of pure gold like a rope. They made 2 gold filigree settings and 2 gold rings, and fastened the rings to the 2 of the corners of the breastpiece. They fastened the 2 gold chains to the rings at the corners of the breastpiece, and the other ends of the chains to the 2 settings, attaching them to the shoulder pieces of the ephod at the front. They made 2 gold rings and attached them to the other 2 corners of the breastpiece on the other 2 corners. Attached them to the other 2 corners of the breastpiece on the inside edge next to the ephod. Then they made 2 more gold rings and attached them to the bottom of the shoulder pieces on the front of the ephod, close to the seam, just above the waistband of the ephod. They tied the rings of the breastpiece to the rings of the ephod with blue cord connecting it to the waistband, so that the breastpiece would not swing out from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. They made the robe of the ephod entirely of blue cloth, the work of a weaver, with an opening in the center of the robe like the opening of a collar, and a band around this opening, so that it would not tear. They made pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and finely twisted linen around the hem of the robe. And they made bells of pure gold and attached them around the hem between the pomegranates. The bells and pomegranates alternated around the hem of the robe to be worn for ministering, as the Lord commanded Moses. For Aaron and his sons they made tunics of fine linen, the work of a weaver, and the turban of fine linen, the linen headbands, and the undergarments of finely twisted linen. The sash was of finely twisted linen and blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, the work of an embroiderer, as the Lord commanded Moses. They made the plate, the sacred diadem, out of pure gold, and engraved on it, like an inscription on a seal, holy to the Lord. Then they fastened a blue cord to it to attach it to the turban, as the Lord commanded Moses. So all the work on the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, was completed. The Israelites did everything that just as the Lord commanded Moses. Then they brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent and all its furnishings, its clasp frames, crossbars, posts, and bases, the covering of ram skins dyed red, the covering of hides of sea cows, and the shielding curtain, the ark of the testimony with its poles and the atonement cover, the table with all its articles, and the bread of the presence, the pure gold lampstand with its row of lamps and all its accessories, and the oil for the light, the gold altar, the anointing oil, the fragrant incense, and the curtain for the entrance to the tent, the bronze altar with its bronze grating, its poles, and all its utensils, the basin with its stand, the curtains of the courtyard with its posts and basins, and the curtain for the entrance to the courtyard, the ropes and the tent pegs for the courtyard, all the furnishings for the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and the woven garments worn for ministering in the sanctuary, both the sacred garments for Aaron the priest and the garments for his sons when serving as priests. The Israelites had done all the work just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Moses inspected the work and saw that they had done it just as the Lord had commanded. So Moses blessed them. All right, yeah. And then there's one more chapter in Exodus, and then we're going to Leviticus. I think in Leviticus, I think that's where they go to the desert for like 40 years. Because I think Exodus doesn't really, like, Exodus, they just leave Egypt. And then they're kind of like, the whole time, most of it's just about the tabernacle, I think. And all the other buildings. Oh, okay, so I keep forgetting because I'm almost done with Leviticus in the New King James. I keep forgetting where I'm at for like the plague of locusts. Oh no, wait, no, Exodus. Wait, hold on. Let's see. Joseph threw himself upon his father. Okay. Yeah, so Exodus is when they left, and it was talking about like, and then they left and stuff like that. And then let's see, when the Song of Moses. Okay, yeah, they left. They finally got out of Egypt. Let me see. I think like after chapter 15, and then they had like stuff like the manna and some story stuff in between, and the Ten Commandments. And the covenants and all that stuff. Yeah, okay. Yeah. priestly God. Yeah, okay. I'm remembering. Yes, and then they do like the plagues. You had to get out of Egypt was like 0 through 15. And they sing the song and stuff like that. And yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. And then they're kind of all right. And then let's see. Then you have and in Leviticus, they're going through more and more laws, like tons of more laws all the way through. It's pretty for the most part all through everything, pretty much. You have the feasts and the oils and all that stuff. I'm almost done with Leviticus. What am I saying? I'm already through Leviticus. I'm on Numbers. Yeah. Anyway, I'm on Numbers in the New King James track reading program. But I don't even remember, man. What I think they go through the 40 years in Leviticus. Maybe some in Exodus. Uh, no, I don't really remember. But this is my first time reading through it, so. But yeah, anyway, that was Exodus 39. 40 is the last one. That's where they're gonna be setting it up and stuff like that, and that's where Exodus ends. It's gonna be ending when the cloud covered. It says the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Yeah, and then Leviticus is gonna go into more stuff. Yeah. And then let's see. Yeah, Leviticus is mostly a rule book. Yeah, Numbers. Oh yeah, okay. Numbers is when you get to the 40 years. All right. Yeah, I'm chilling. I mean, I was tripping. All right. Anyway, yeah. All right. That's all I gotta say. And I ain't got much to say. If you have something that you want to talk about, feel free to post a comment. And I'll catch you in the next one.